Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time zone it is, whether you're in the world. It is your Lore and Saviour, out on a pleasant evening stroll. The sun is setting somewhere over there, and I have returned from a holiday of mostly relaxation and nerdy shenanigans, which you've probably seen in a variety of community notes. Community notes? Yeah, community posts. Community notes is a Twitter thing. Community posts. And a couple of rather interesting things happened last week, whilst I had my gorgeous partner over, one of which was the assassination of a former president, which we're obviously not going to be talking about here. But the other thing I'm referring to here is this little screenshot there from Mark Rein-Hagen, the creator of Vampire the Masquerade. Now, I don't follow him on Facebook, I'm not friends on Facebook, it was just somebody that someone shared on a Facebook page. And it was him talking about 35 years of Vampire the Masquerade. Should almost start a podcast with that exact name, in fact. Haha, you see what I did there? And it just kind of got me a bit reflective, to be honest, and I just want to waffle a little about that right now. Contrary to popular belief, I haven't really been playing Vampire the Masquerade for all that long, nor have I been reading it for that long either. I know that some people seem to think that I've been playing it for ages and my deep voice is a reflection upon one's age. Well, I suppose it is really, I'm nearly 30, which is kind of a weird thing to think about. But I haven't been playing Vampire for all that long. I picked up Vampire the Masquerade in the summer of 2019. In fact, I'm just sitting here thinking about it, it's about 5 years ago now. I haven't done my math properly, but whatever, that's a weird fucking anniversary thing to keep an eye on, whatever, you know what I mean. And yeah, in case you weren't aware, I've always really been into vampires, me. The first encounter I had with a vampire media was Soul Reaver, the second game in the Legacy of Kain series. And being of the tender age of 3, 4, possibly 5, I was a wee nipper, and playing that Soul Reaver demo on some PlayStation demo disc way back when was a very confusing and yet eye-opening experience. I seem to remember that it had like the opening introduction, like that classic, very narrative, story-driven, lore-driven, political tense fuckery that is that introduction. I'd play it, but you can go and Google that at your own leisure. And as I was a toddler, I was rather frightened by all of this, particularly when Raziel was torn up by acid or whatever that shit was. But at the same time, I found it really fascinating. And just learning about vampires that way around. And I would play the full game a bit later. I was a very young gamer. And again, the designs of all the vampires and all their forms and the brothers and all that stuff, it was all so cool and fascinating to me, and it just sort of captivated me ever since, and I've always just loved vampires. And then I would pick up Skyrim many years later. Actually, before then there was Oblivion, where there was this vampire in the Dark Brotherhood, and I really wanted to be a vampire because vampires were cool, and they still are in my opinion. I pretend that Twilight doesn't exist, basically. And, I really wanted to be a vampire in that game. And of course, I'd watch bits and pieces with vampires in them all the same, but nothing really got me hooked into Soul Reaver, into vampire-related like Soul Reaver did. Oblivion came close. Skyrim, with its Dawnguard DLC sometime after, came very close as well. And, I just played that Dawnguard shit over and over again. There was that the political element of it. They all hated each other, trying to fight for power, sort of thing. It was dark, it was gritty, and it was just not like too gritty. It's a fucking Bethesda game, for fuck's sake. But you could see where this is all going, of course. And then I found Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines via Vampire, because that was a game I picked up in 2019 as well. You play as Dr. Jonathan Reed, who's exploring post-World War I London. I did a review of it, like the first year into the YouTube channel, which you can go and watch as that appears on the card right now. And again, political, horror, different factions, power, questions on humanity and what defines you as a vampire, monster, and all that stuff. Then I found people talking about Bloodlines online, people reviewing Vampire, as I was trying to get all the other trophies. And I was hooked with Bloodlines, even though it was and still is, a buggy mess. There's something to be said about what Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines did for the World of Darkness. And I wanted more. I scoured YouTube and the internet for more Bloodlines content, learned about all the different fan mods and whatnot that were improved and added different experiences to the game. And then I found the LA by Night actual play. learning a bit more about this tabletop role-playing game shenanigans. I had experienced a D&D game once before. I believe it was a 4th edition game, but I'm not entirely too sure, and quite frankly I don't care. Like, it's not important for my development as a tabletop role-playing game connoisseur, so to speak. But yeah, once I watched the actual play, I wanted more. I wanted to experience it. I bought some dice, I bought the 5th edition core book. I wanted more. I went about learning more about the lore from YouTube channels such as the Primogen, Huddy, the Gentleman Gamer, Matthew Dawkins, who are all very inspirational about how I'd go about doing things. They all have varying styles of delivering their information, and I obviously love all their content. And despite our differences now, there was a video that Outstar had done that really inspired me. She did a video on the Finnbloods. And because obviously the Finnbloods in V5 have a lot more going for them than they did in other editions, despite being a very key component of the whole Gehenna plotline thing. And it just sort of made me think, why isn't anybody covering the lore and the material in 5th edition? That glare will disappear in a moment. Like, it's all just sort of stops at Revised, and I knew enough about 20th Anniversary Edition to know that there were some updates and changes to things. Not much, admittedly. There's the whole reasons for that. I'm not going to go into that now. But the point was that nobody was covering 5th edition material, or rather, the most recent updates through 20th Anniversary Edition and beyond. And that's where I come in. Buying an excessive number of books and just really embracing the Lore by Night brand. And I'd read and I'd enjoy, and there's some things that I really don't like, which I've all reviewed and talked about before, and I don't agree with every single change that they made, past, present and future. And I don't have to, you know, I'm human, I've talked about this before, and that's totally alright. But what am I actually getting through all of this? Well, Vampire the Masquerade will always be a really important game to me. You know, despite my grievances with the direction of 5th edition, how certain things of V20 ruined and improved Vampire and all that fun stuff. Like, Vampire will always be a very important thing to me. It's, you know, not to be melodramatic here, it's changed my life. Like, for the better. I was a bit in an emotional slump when I picked up that game I've talked about it before, but I do have depression. My anxiety has shot through the fucking roof since the whole COVID pandemic of 2020 and beyond. And a lot of the time I am, despite appearances, an emotional wreck, but VTM has definitely made me a better person overall. I feel reading through it and engaging with the ttrpg space and the various communities within that I've learned more about racial diversity, more about LGBTQ, because at this point, when I first started it, I was very much in denial about my own sexuality. I'm bisexual, by the way, in case my social media colour scheme and the colour scheme for a lot of my videos didn't give it away. It's helped me to understand and appreciate things that I was, and still am in many ways, ignorant to. And I'm by no means perfect. Like, I fuck up sometimes. I've been villain of the week twice on social media. That's why I don't engage with Twitter anymore, but that's not what I'm doing with this. You know, I'm just being open and honest about things without stirring the pot too much. And I also found a soulmate through it. All of my intimate relationships have come from discovering Vampire the Masquerade, but it's my current partner and hopefully lifelong friend, Rika, and the same person I was on holiday with. It's all of this has just come from Vampire the Masquerade, and just in a few short years. I mean, this year will be the 5th year of Lore by Night, the 5th year that I first picked up Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, those dice, just absorbing myself in the space, becoming who I am and where I sit within the grander space of the VTM community, with the content wants fame and, depending on who you ask, infamy. Yeah, of course there are things I would change, but overall not really, because it's all led me to the person I am today, and I do think overall I am a better person for it. And I've come to appreciate things a lot more. I've designed games, technically, you know, with the Aurtakis Storyteller. I've written homebrew running games and play games. Have scratched several itches that I've had for years wanting to write and design stories and tales and produce horror. And I feel that I've done that, and I want to keep doing that, and it's been a very eye-opening and enlightening experience. I've made wonderful friends through Vampire and World of Darkness. I could keep going on like this, but I feel at that point I'm just waffling, and I really should be saving a lot of this for the fucking 5th year anniversary episode, but I do have something rather special planned for that, and I think you all are going to enjoy it when I get around to doing it. I actually have 2 things planned for that. This isn't one of them. As I said, this is just a very off-the-cuff thing, just seeing, you know, VTM's creator do a little post, a reflection thing about creating Vampire the Masquerade. I won't lie, I'm a bit emotional about it. And seeing as a YouTuber, reading everyone's comments, I may not reply to all of them, but I do read every single one. And some of the stories I have heard from you lot, like how it's changed your life, how some of you have had similar emotional slumps where you've questioned what you should do in life, and I don't mean like career-wise, I mean meeting, in vampire terms, a final death. You know, try not to mention certain keywords so YouTube doesn't slap me on the wrist, sort of thing. And it's just really emotional. Like, seeing that I've had that effect on people, like, not just the desire to pick up these games and play, but the desire to carry on fucking living. Which, I don't think words can define how powerful that is. And still on a smaller scale, I know that there are other YouTubers and content creators who, whether they've mentioned it or not, they clearly are inspired by what I do. I do notice now that there are a lot more people doing World of Darkness lore who have a very similar sort of narration to it, like a pupil to master to pupil sort of thing. Now, I don't want to take all the credit for that. I mean, I fucking took that idea from Matthew Dawkins and the Gentleman Gamer. Like, I loved what he did, and with my expertise in audio's production, I wanted to make my own mark on that, and not to be arrogant or cocky about it, do it better. And I don't mean, as I said, I don't mean it to be cocky. Like, if I'm not doing the best that I can and try and do that one step better so I can stick out a bit more, then that's just doing things second best, and I don't think that's worth putting out. So I guess to wrap this thing up, because I could keep going off like this for ages, I want to say thank you to every single person who has contributed to the World of Darkness fiction and games in some manner. You know, even the more controversial figures now, even Mark Hagen himself, who I know people have jaded opinions about, you know, because you've all contributed in inspiring many people and bringing together friends and relationships. I'm very grateful that some of those authors I consider to be friends and acquaintances. Like, that seems a really fucking weird thing to me, like rubbing shoulders with the stars, as it were. You know, just all these developers and writers are fantastic people. Well, the ones I've interacted with, of course. I don't think that goes without saying, but you never know, this is the internet. Like, it's the work you have put in and the amount of years and inspiration you have put onto people is just wonderful, really. I also want to say thank you to every single person who has recommended me a book or game line to read. You know, for even the fucking dickheads who have argued with me in the comments section, or the trolls or whatever, because that's just made me more of a resilient person, to be honest. Like, taking criticism, which I think is always an important thing to do. I've always felt I'm pretty good at it anyway. You know, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. I do encourage conversation in all of its forms, just so we can open our minds and know what we do and don't like out of life, I guess. Thank you also to the various members of my Discord server, and of course the best till last, my partner Rika, who is an incredible individual, and words cannot describe the awe and wonder that I have over them. Now, I don't want anybody to think that I'm going anywhere if I'm getting all emotional like this. I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan to anyway. Like, realistically, I could die tomorrow and that would be pretty fucking awkward, but I do not plan on going anywhere just yet, much to the dismay of some people. and much to the joy of others, I hope. So I just wanted, as I said, give a little rant about my love and affection for Vampire the Masquerade, the history over it, and thanks some fucking awesome people. There's too many of the writers to name, but you're all truly wonderful. And to leave things with you, the dear listeners, I have a favour to ask. I would like you in the comment section below to give me your first or your favourite World of Darkness experience, preferably vampires, that's what we're talking about, but you don't have to, because I know a lot of people came through werewolf or wraith or whatever. I know Changing has a pretty strong fan base as well, but give me some of your favourite or most personal World of Darkness experiences down below. And whilst you're down there, you can check out some various books that you can purchase for your games if you haven't done so already. You purchase them with those links, I get some of the money back because I'm an affiliate, so I'm able to provide more of the content you love me producing for you, and to some people some of the stuff I hate. So I'd appreciate any financial support you can give. If not, that's absolutely fine. Just like, subscribe, share with anybody who you think will enjoy what I do. And I'll see you on the next upload, whatever that may well be for you. And until next time, farewell.